This is the last stage of a nuclear crisis. There may be only one move left, a move that changes peace to war and turns 3 o'clock on a warm summer afternoon into H-1 of a new era.
This is the Civil Defence Requisition Party. We have to clear up stock of your shop, I'm afraid. Right, you go on there.
In the event of a nuclear war, millions of people in this country would be killed. But millions, even though their homes had been destroyed, would survive and need caring for. While many would waste their time and energy in panic, or limit themselves to ensuring the safety of their own families, some would use their survival for the purpose of helping others.
Welfare Department? Jack Davis speaking. This is just to let you know we've completed the requisitioning as ordered. I'm going on to the rest centers on my list now. This is the last delivery, Miss Bailey. They can do you a nice line in ladies' jumpers.
Fishermen's sweaters would be more like it.
Margaret Paley is the supervisor of a rest centre for homeless in the city of Bath. She is destined to survive, and what she does will be useful, because she has the backing of an efficient organisation centred in the city of Bath Guildhall. The City Council's emergency homeless officer is responsible for the setting up, staffing and provisioning of rest centres. And people like Margaret Paley, however dedicated, are dependent on the arrangements he has made. Rest centres have been prepared in Bath, situated in chapels, in halls, clubs and other suitable buildings. The majority, though, have been set up in schools and are staffed by a mixture of local authority personnel, trained welfare section volunteers and last-minute recruits.
Negotiations may lead to a lessening of tension. A spokesman said, God willing.
The rest centres set up in schools are operated wherever possible by specially trained members of the school staff. Their knowledge of the buildings and experience of authority make them particularly suited for such a role. In other cases, welfare section volunteers are allotted to the different centres as the need arises. The division of trained workers among the different emergency services, care of the homeless, emergency feeding and billeting, has been worked out in advance by the local authority officers responsible. Some of them are already on duty. Supplies for rest centres have been obtained mainly by requisition. Their distribution is now almost complete. As well as medical supplies, food and clothing, the rest centres require sanitary equipment, water containers, cooking equipment, blankets, battery-operated radios, and other emergency supplies. On arrival at the rest centres, a careful record has been kept of all equipment, particularly requisitioned material, and as much as possible has been stored away under lock and key. The emergency homeless officer has sent members of his staff to make a last-minute check of rest centre arrangements, and he will report to the County Borough Controller, who will in turn keep sub-regional control informed of the situation. For the moment, though, he can only wait.
Hello, Miss Paley. I've just dropped in to see if everything's okay.
Fine. This is Mary Doran. She's in charge of the cooking arrangements. I think everything's under control now, Mary. Give us a shot if you want anything.
To protect your family against fallout, you would need a fallout room. Choose a room on the ground floor with as little outside...
That's Mrs. Levis getting the first aid room ready. She's a teacher here and she was a nurse during the last war. That's Anne helping her. Well, that young man who just passed us was sent to help unload the stuff and so on.
Oh, don't break the packets open. It's best to keep things wrapped up as long as possible.
Many of the people who've joined us in the last couple of days have been here for the last 6 months.
All right. Clothing?
Yes, that's Pamela Gordon. She's in the welfare section. They sent us 2 WVS girls.
You've knocked these 2 classrooms into one at the end of the corridor for your rest and feeding area.
Yes.
Should work very well indeed.
This is Mrs. Ford. She's helping Mary Dines with the cooking arrangements.
Good afternoon.
We'll do all right, Mrs. Downs and me. We'll see no one starve. Though I don't know what'll happen if the gas goes.
What about water?
Water? We've got enough water to drown a whale.
Good.
Well,
We'll take good care of it. We can't afford to waste a drop.
I haven't seen you in the toilet so far. How are you coping with that?
Oh, well, all the lavatories here are outside. So if there's fallout, we'll have to use Elson's. We can put them in the restroom.
Sounds fair enough.
That's the assembly area. And through there, the billeting office. I shall be through there, too. Frank Chase is our local billeting officer. He's maths master here.
Oh, is he?
And there's a WVS girl from the welfare section, as well as Mary Hughes to help him. And, of course, guides, if we get them.
Sure.
We're lucky here. You can see on this plan. The building's laid out in straight lines. And 4 of the classrooms have folding walls, so we were able to open them up when we needed a big space and make as many entrances to each room as we wanted. And we had to use movable screens to keep the different lines of homeless from getting mixed up.
Yes, it's terribly important to keep them moving all the
indicate
time.
a lessening of world tension.
Oh, I think it'll work.
Prime Minister of the Soviet Union and the President of the United States are in constant touch over the hotline, and a peaceful solution of the crisis may be the outcome.
Well, it looks as though things are not going to be too bad.
According to a report from...
Here is an emergency announcement. An air attack is approaching this country now. Go to shelter or take cover at once.
Take cover, everybody! Take cover! That's it then. They've put one on Bristol.
I never thought it would happen.
Is everyone okay? Well, until I get further instructions, I'm going to keep you all in here. And in case we have to open up quickly, let's decide now what we're going to do. Mrs. Levis, I want you to be in charge of first aid. And you better keep Anne with you. And you too, I think. Now, clothing. You two can cope with that all right, can't you? And Mary, you'll be in charge of feeding, of course, with Mrs. Ford in the kitchen. And Frank, I think you're going to need the rest of the staff to help you with the billeting.
Yes, Mrs. Hughes will work with me as my assistant. And I want you to look after the billeting guides when we get them.
Well, we ought to be able to get more people in to help you, from the street parties and so on. Well, I think that's about... Mrs. Levis, look after Anne, will you? Sorry. There's just one more thing. From now on, this is going to be one of our biggest problems. Most of us have been training for this for years, but I don't think any of us really believed it could really happen. Well, in a few hours, we're going to be swamped with people who've just walked out of hell. If a panic starts, it's going to spread like wildfire, because that's what panic's like. So whatever fears we may have, we better face them now, clearly. Right? Well, it's 4:15. Better make ourselves as comfortable as possible. Maybe some time before the all clear goes.
Well, we better start by getting the camp beds out.
Bailey,
It's almost 8 o'clock. Next bulletin's due.
Oh.
This is the BBC Southwest Regional Broadcast. The time is now 7:56. The news bulletin
tight, everybody,
follows
so I
in
get
about
back.
4 minutes' time. This will be followed by an announcement from the Regional Commissioner.
Lymore Road Rest Centre, Margaret Taylor speaking.
Warden Post Lima 2 here. A message has come down from control that it was a ground burst weapon, about 2 megatons on Bristol. As the wind's blowing up the Bristol Channel, we're in no danger from fallout.
people to run the rest centre here for the moment, but we're going to be a bit pushed if we have to open the auxiliary one down the road.
Roger. Right, that's all for the moment then. Goodbye.
Bye. Well, that's it. We're operational.
I'll be on my way. You tell them. Good luck.
Can I bother you for a moment, Frank? Now it seems certain we shan't be affected by fallout here. I think we're bound to be overrun. In which case, we'll have to open up the old chapel down the road as planned, with Mrs. Levis in charge. You fairly happy about that?
Yes, I think so. And once the billeting here's got underway, I can send Mrs. Hughes to look after the billeting there.
Fine. I'll get everybody to keep a certain amount of stuff ready, packed and portable, so we shouldn't have too much trouble that way. I wish I could spare more people. Mrs. Levis will just have to cope as best she can with Mrs. Hughes and a couple of recruits. Even so, it's going to bring us down to an absolute minimum.
Now, I'll just show you how to do a sling, Christopher, in case we get a lot of arm injuries in. Right, put the point here. Would you put your arm against your chest here? Point under the arm. Over that shoulder.
Everyone all right?
Any news?
Mind if I turn this down a bit?
Oh, how about a nice cup of tea then? Cheer us all up a bit.
Good idea. Better get a rest now before they all start arriving.
Over to the right. First aid over to the right, sir. Restroom on the left. You'll get a hot cup of tea there. You'll get some soup in the restroom on the left. Restroom on the left, down there. First aid over to the right there. I'm afraid you can't bring that in here, sir. Oh, yeah. No, I'm afraid you'll have to leave it outside with the rest of them. I'll keep an eye on it. Still hanging on okay, Susan? Just keep on looking. That's her enough. Don't you worry. First aid over to the right there, sir. Restroom on the left, madam. Restroom on the left. You'll get something to eat there. Down on the left there. First aid for you, sir. Up on the right there. Seen anybody yet, Susan? Mrs. Downs? Little girl here, Susan. She's lost her mum and dad.
Oh, dear. Well, never mind, Susan. Bob here will keep a look after them. Meantime, we'll go and find someone to look after you. We'd like that, wouldn't you? Come along with me.
All right, dear? First aid over to the right. They'll pass you on the clothing. First aid over to the right there.
Yeah, hold that dressing on a minute, will you? It's all right, it won't bite you.
First aid over to the right, sir. First aid... Hey, steady on, mate. Where do you think you're off to?
Where's the doctor?
These other people were first.
Look, I must get my wife to a doctor.
All right. First aid over to the right there.
Mrs. Levis, there's a little girl over here being very sick. Do you think it could be...
Oh, it's just excitement. Children always get sick.
Where's the doctor?
Where you would cry, a child vomit.
I said, where's the doctor?
I heard you, but you'll have to wait your turn. There is no doctor.
I must get my wife to a hospital. Look, if you're in charge here, will you please arrange for my wife to be moved to a hospital? It's urgent.
What's the matter with her?
She's blind. Must have been the blast. She can't see.
Well, let me finish what I'm doing, and then I'll see to your wife. There's no chance of her getting a hospital bed as things are at the moment, I'm afraid.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
I should say she stands a very good chance of recovery. I'll see to her eyes, and then she needs rest.
Oh, Mr. Newman, would you come here, please? I'd like you to take your next stop to Mayfield Road, number 3, 15, 27, 28, 30, 35.
36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Follow me this way, please.
Stand back, everybody, please.
Let's get into the first aid room. I'll get Bob from the daughter shifted. Hello.
I think so. He just suddenly dropped.
Maybe that the strain was too much for him. I hope that's all it is. How's it going?
Oh, I'm worried. We seem to be losing an awful lot of stuff. Every time I turn my back, something disappears.
Stolen, you mean?
Well, for people who've lost everything, this is a chance of getting some of the things they need. You can hardly call it stealing.
No, you can't. Pity there aren't more cupboards with locks. Never mind, don't worry. I'll try and get somebody to come and help you keep an eye on things.
The situation at this rest centre is clearly in danger of getting out of hand. Margaret Paley therefore telephones the emergency homeless officer at County Borough Control. She is instructed to proceed with the plan for such an emergency and to set up an auxiliary rest centre in a nearby chapel, previously selected for this purpose.
Now, where's the bell of the light? Right, now this is going to have to be very simple. Reception area there, first aid on the right, clothing on the left of the hall, rest area and feeding in the centre, billeting office and assembly at the end of the hall. Oh, and there's a door there through which the homeless can go out. Now, we'll have to use tables to make partitions between the sections. If we push them against the walls, they'll do for shelves as well. Now, we haven't much time. I tell them to give us about 15 minutes.
Into this centre rest. Into the rest.
Next, please.
She keeps being sick all the time. I think she's got the radiation sickness.
Oh, I doubt it. She's probably tired. It's a child's way of showing she's upset.
Radiation sickness.
Radiation, you talk about it as if it's something you can catch like measles. Well, I don't know whether these people have radiation sickness or not, and I can't help them if they have. But what I do know is outside people may be bleeding to death that I can help. And I'm not going to let anyone's hysterics hold me up. Now, those of you that want treatment, shut up and sit down. And anyone strong enough to go on screaming and shouting can get out and do something useful. Mary is a shock case, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Florence. Shock case. Do you have anyone in this batch who could look after him?
Well, I'm just taking a party over to Lyndhurst Road. I'll find someone to cope. Come on. Right, everyone, follow me.
I'm the street leader here. Can I give you a hand?
Oh, thanks. We could split it up. Take half the road each. And take these forms and fill them up as you go. Now, we're putting a family in every room. You take the first 4 houses down here, and don't take no for an answer.
Okay.
Oh, I've got a chap here, a shop case. You've got a first aider could look after him.
Yes, there's a woman in number 40. But I'll take care of him.
Oh, good. Right, from here, follow me.
You 4 follow me, and the rest of you stay here. Ah, Mrs. Holmes.
Yes?
These are the people to be billeted on you. We've a very bad shock case here, and I hope you can cope. We don't know his name and address, so if you can find out, please let me know.
Yes, I'll try.
This is Mr. and Mrs. Green and their daughter Jennifer. I'll just take down their names and addresses, and they're all yours. Could I have your initials and address, please, Mr. Green?
H.J., 20 Redland Avenue, Bristol.
Yeah, what is it?
These are the people that are being billeted on you.
Listen, I told your people when they came round here yesterday, there's no room for anybody here at all.
Nobody has room.
I don't want your refugees.
Look, it could have been you know.
Yeah, well, it could have been, but it wasn't, was it?
There's a war on, don't you realise that?
You can say that again. Listen, I did what your lot told me. Lay in food, they said. Build a fallout shelter. Okay, now they want me to share it and give it away. For all I know, those people down there may be radioactive. No thanks, I don't want nobody in here.
Thank God there aren't many like that.
You should have filled him in.
Don't worry, I'll be back later with the police.
See that woman?
Yes?
We've nothing left to fit her.
We're running out of dressings, Miss Paley. We have a few more sheets that we can tear up, but at this rate, they'll only last another half an hour.
We're on the last of soup, dear. It'll just be tea, and there's not much left of that.
This area is pretty nearly saturated. We're working around the edges now. It's the same down in the chapel. They only allow them a small sector. I've spoken to County Borough, but I don't know what they can do.
Well, I've been on to them, too. We seem to be running out of everything. All our reserves have gone. In about half an hour, we're just going to be no use at all.
The situation at this rest centre is typical. The resources of Bath are almost exhausted. The billeting and emergency homeless officers report to the County Borough Controller, who informs sub-regional headquarters. Here, representatives of the police and of the ministries involved in the operation have been making arrangements for moving homeless further afield. The area to the northeast of Bristol is contaminated by fallout and is not suitable for the reception of homeless. The field of billeting is therefore extended to a series of small towns in the area free from fallout, where rest centres have been prepared precisely as in Bath. All suitable transport has been assembling at parking points around the city, and local bus drivers, lorry drivers, and others with experience of heavy vehicles have been called out to help in moving the homeless out of Bath to where they can be housed and cared for.
It's out of our hands now, I'm afraid.
Yes, there's nothing we can do for them now except wait.
Quickly on, please. Now, come along, everybody, please, into this bus as quick as we can now, time.
Yeah, I'll manage all right.
Some more on top now, please, I think. That's right, dear. Careful. Well, that's it then. Not for long. As soon as things get sorted out, they'll be sending in more supplies and we'll be in business again. Think you can face it?
Of course. No choice, is there?